You're not undisciplined. You're predictable. Every goal you've set, every habit you've broken, every time you restarted, it followed the exact same pattern. Same trigger, same exit point, same story you told yourself after. You just never noticed it was a pattern. And here's the part that should make you uncomfortable. Something inside you already knows when you're going to quit. Before you start, before the motivation fades, before the first obstacle even appears. It's been deciding for you this entire time. That's not weakness. That's not laziness. That's a psychological system running underneath everything. One you never chose, never questioned, never even knew existed. Kobe didn't have more willpower than you. He just found the system. And once you see what that system has been quietly doing to you this entire time, you'll realize it was never about discipline at all. And at the end of this video, I'll show you one small bonus insight, something simple you can use immediately to start breaking that pattern today.
Chapter 1. The Real Problem.
Here's what's strange about people who struggle with discipline. They're usually the ones who want it the most. They plan, they set alarms, they start Mondays with more intention than most people carry in a month. And still, same result. Because here's what's actually happening underneath all of it. Your brain isn't wired to make you successful. It's wired to make you consistent. Consistent with who it already thinks you are. Every morning, before the alarm, before the first decision, your brain has already made a quiet judgment. Not about your goals, about your identity. If it believes you're someone who follows through, following through feels natural. If it believes you're someone who stops, stopping feels like the obvious choice. That's not motivation failing you. That's identity running on autopilot. And until that changes, nothing you try will stick.
Chapter 2. The Hidden Pattern.
Think about the last time you broke a habit. Something was working. A streak, a routine, a version of yourself you were starting to believe in. Then, one day, you stopped. Here's the question most people never ask. What happened the moment after? Because when you miss once, your brain doesn't just register a missed day. It registers evidence. Evidence it will use quietly, automatically, the next time you're on the edge of quitting. Remember last time? This is what we do. And the next quit comes faster, with less resistance, less guilt, because the pattern is now confirmed. Every action you take is a vote, cast silently for the version of yourself you're becoming. But here's what Kobe understood. The votes don't have to be big, they just have to be consistent. Every 4 a.m. session wasn't about fitness, it was a vote, building a case. I am someone who doesn't stop. One vote doesn't decide anything. 1,000 votes over time changes who you are at a level no motivation ever could.
Chapter 3. Why it keeps repeating.
So why does the cycle never break? Because most people attack the wrong layer. They change the routine, the app, the plan, but they leave the operating system completely untouched. And behavior without identity is just performance. Performance has an expiry date. It runs on willpower, a limited resource, on emotion, which fluctuates, on external pressure, which disappears. And the moment those fuels run out, the behavior collapses, every time, like clockwork. Your brain isn't resisting discipline because you're weak. It's resisting because discipline feels foreign to the identity it's been protecting. Your brain's deepest function isn't growth, it's familiarity. It will always pull you back toward what feels like you. Change the story, the behavior follows. Leave the story untouched, and no system in the world will save you.
Chapter 4. How to break the cycle.
So what actually breaks the cycle? One thing, what you silently believe about yourself in the moments no one is watching. Not the big commitments, not the fired-up Monday mornings. The decision you make when you're tired and no one would know if you skipped. That moment is not small. That moment is the whole game. Because your brain isn't watching your goals. It's watching your behavior when there's zero reason to perform. Every time you show up when it doesn't matter, your brain quietly updates its file on you. Slowly, invisibly, permanently. Kobe practiced moves he knew he'd never use in a game. Not for the coach, not for the stats, for the version of himself that was always watching. Building a case, one invisible repetition at a time. That's identity architecture. And it's available to anyone willing to do the work when no one's looking.
Chapter 5. What discipline actually is.
Discipline is not a trait, it's a byproduct. It's what naturally emerges after your identity has already shifted. When you genuinely start seeing yourself as someone who doesn't quit, not because you're forcing it, but because the internal evidence has quietly accumulated, discipline stops feeling like effort. It starts feeling like expression. You stop fighting to do the thing, you just do it because that's who you are now. The goal was never to be more disciplined. The goal was to become someone for whom stopping feels wrong. That's a completely different target. Aim at the right one, and everything else stops being a struggle.
Chapter 6. The wrong battle.
You've been fighting the wrong battle. Every reset, every "this time will be different," all of it aimed at behavior. None of it aimed at the belief underneath. And behavior without a changed belief is just exhausting theater. It performs for a while, collapses, you reset, the cycle continues. Not because you're weak, because the foundation was never touched. The people who seem effortlessly consistent, it's not their schedule or willpower, it's that through small, repeated actions, through invisible decisions, through showing up when no one cared, they accidentally became someone different. And once you become someone different, you don't need reminders, you don't need motivation, you just live from who you are. So the only question that matters, who am I becoming with every choice I'm making today? Because that answer is already being written, whether you're paying attention or not.
Finally, the bonus tip I promised.
Pick one action, so small it feels almost embarrassing. Not a transformation. One push-up, one page, 1 minute. Something your brain cannot negotiate with. And do it every day without missing. Not for the result, for the evidence. Every time you do, your brain quietly updates its file. This is who we are now. Don't start with the goal, start with the proof. You were never the problem. The story was. And stories can be rewritten. If this felt less like a YouTube video and more like something that's been true about you for years, this channel is built for people who don't want motivation. They want to understand the thing underneath it. Subscribe, because what comes next goes even deeper.